Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? Welcome to Lovella's Coloring. I am here to do another coloring tag called My 10 Coloring Essentials. It was created by the Coloring Diva and I was tagged by the lovely Amazon Tammy. So I will leave the links to both their channels and to their coloring essential videos down below in the video description. So I've already done like a coloring essentials video before, but it was from 2 years ago in 2019 when I first started my channel, and I didn't watch it before recording, so I don't remember what I said in that video. But if you're interested in seeing it and if you haven't seen it yet, I will leave the link to that video down below in the video description and also up above on the right hand corner where you see the little eye. And yeah, I don't know, I wanted to see the video just to see what I picked out and what I showed, but at the same time I didn't want to watch myself because it was like a face to camera kind of video at the time. And yeah, so but maybe in the future, when this video is made, I will see them both together and then see what the differences are. So before I name what my 10 essentials are for coloring, I just want to establish that my coloring books is already there, colored pencils is already there. That's my number one that I would use anyways, and lights and my favorite place to color, which is my desk right over here. So those are already just like there, so I'm not going to name any of those. Essentials for me is on top of that, on top of the books, on top of the pencils, what I will need other than those. So we'll go ahead and get started now. For the first one, it would have to be pencil case. So I already said like colored pencils is my medium choice, and whenever I get a new pencil set, I always get a pencil case. I never leave them in their original case because they're all so like different shapes. It's hard to stack them all. I like them all in a pencil case, so when I put them away in the bookcase, it's just straight, just put it away, and when I need it, I just pull it out. And the kind of pencil case that I like to use is this one, which has the kind of like opens up like a book. It doesn't take up that much space. I don't mind opening it up with the zippers, you know, as long as it doesn't take up too much space. It's not opening up all the way all over my desk, because usually my desk is cluttered with books and mediums and stuff. Yeah, so I like this kind of pencil case. The brand is BTSKY, but there's also other brands like Sue Color and some other ones. When I first got the case for my Prismacolors, it came with only like I think 4 colors, and so they were all like this pleather single color ones. Nowadays you can find them with like a cloth cover with designs. They're also pretty, but it's okay because I like to put my pencils in different colors of pencil cases. So there's different sizes. There's this one is the 160, there's a 120, and there's also a 72, and I believe there was a 300. I think I saw a 300 case. But another reason why I like this is because I like these single slots. I don't like the double slots because every time you take out one, the other one that's hanging in there is just going to be sliding around or accidentally fall out. So I really like these tight single slots. And then of course, like with my Prismas, because if I were to go somewhere like on vacation or something, this would probably be the pencils that I bring with me. I always have an extender. I always have colorless blender. These are my extras. Here's the one that I left in here, so it's really short. And usually in here I would keep my Derwent eraser, which is one of the essentials that I'll show later, but it's not in there right now because I was using it. So yeah, so really love these kinds of pencil case, and it's definitely the first thing I would buy after getting pencils. So again, pencil cases. So the second one are my erasers, which I just showed you, my Derwent eraser. This is the electric one, so you need batteries for this one. There are other brands, probably cheaper ones. I have this eraser for many years, probably from 2016, I think. And I use this one for bigger spaces, or like when I'm using pastel. And this one, and because it's so small, I like to do this one. It's a lot faster for me to just go over large areas to erase. This one is the Tombow Mono Zero, and they do have two different sizes. I think there's another one that's just like a flat. I have the round tipped one. I think this is only my like second eraser that I replaced in here, so it does last a while. These are good for small areas, for tiny details that you want to erase. So these are the three that I would usually have with me while I am coloring. So these are the erasers, number 2. Number 3 is sharpeners. So I'll go ahead and bring in the sharpeners that I use. I'm going to start off with the T-Gull, and this sharpener I usually just use when I take it with me on vacation and I'm taking my pencils with me. I don't use this at home because I have all these other sharpeners to use. This one comes with 5 different settings for how sharp you want to make your pencils. It also has a area for your shavings. But yeah, these do get dull pretty easily, or if you use it a lot. So I think this was my 3rd one. I stopped using it a lot last year, and since we've been home like all the time. So yeah, so this one I would only use when we go on trips and I'm taking my coloring stuff with me. And the M&R is one that I always keep beside me, and it comes with my little tin of shavings. So this one is the round one that comes with 2 sizes of sharpening ends, and I usually use this for the small sized pencils that can no longer fit in the manual hand crank sharpeners. So I love the M&R. There's nothing wrong with the other ones, other kind of sharpeners. I also have the Coom, which looks like this, and it has the extra blade right over here, but I just always end up using this one. I like it how it's like heavy. So yeah, so this is the M&R sharpener. The Derwent manual Super Point sharpener. This one is my first like hand crank one. I went and researched many YouTube videos and articles and blogs about sharpeners to figure out which one I should get, and I finally decided on this one, and I've been using it for years. It definitely works on like hard pencils, like the Crayola ones, where the pencils are kind of like bent. It's not like straight. So and I think it gets to do with the metal grips. The metal grips are very good at keeping your pencils still. And let me just put this. So yeah, so Derwent pencils also have the really sharp super point ends, which is great for like coloring very detailed, very small areas in your colorings. And yeah, so the Derwent manual super point sharpener. And then here I have the Doll 133, which I recently picked up last year when I subscribed to the Felissimo colored pencils. So the reason why I got this is because it does have the bigger hole. I don't know if you can see it, so you can fit your square barreled pencils in here, and it has rubber grips, so it's not leaving dents on your pencils, which is why I also like to use this for my luminance and my color soft, so my Derwent pencils. But this one also, you just pull it out and it stays there. You put your pencil in and you just start cranking. I do also have the Doll 155, and this sharpens very well also, almost as well as the Derwent Super Point. But the only thing with the Doll 155 is that it also has the metal grips where it will leave dents on your pencils, and also you can't hold it open. You have to, or you can't, it won't stay open. You have to hold it, squeeze, and somehow get your pencils in there. So I don't use this one that much. I think the only time I will end up using this one is if my Derwent Super Point is not working anymore. It's like super dull. So yeah, so those are my sharpeners. My number 4 essentials are my alcohol markers. So this is one of my essentials because I love coloring in Amazon printed books. But the thing for me is that when I work on them with just pencils, it does take me a very long time to finish a page, and it also hurts and cramps up my hand. So by using alcohol markers as a base and then going over it with pencils, it really cuts down the time in my coloring. Plus, I don't have to do too much shading to color in the illustrations. So I really love using markers. It's one of my essentials for coloring, especially in the Amazon printed books. So this one is the pastel set of Ohuhus. This is actually going to be in my coloring haul, supplies and books. So yeah, so alcohol markers is my number 4 essential. Number 5 of my coloring essentials are my watercolor mediums. I like to use them as a base on pages that can take watercolor. With watercolor, you definitely have to test your pages in your books before you go all out and do the whole page to make sure that it can take it, that it's not going to bleed through, especially if you have illustrations on both sides. But I like to use them like I use the alcohol markers. I like to use them as a base, then go over it with colored pencils, and I also like to use it as a background. So some examples that I have with me here is like this Sakura Koi watercolor. This is the kind that you have to activate, and then you can pick up the color and then put it on the palette or go straight onto the book. But the water brush that I like to use is this one, where I pick up water and then pick up the color and put it onto a palette, from the palette into the paper, or from straight here to the paper. But yeah, so this is one of the kinds of water mediums that I like to use. Another one is that comes like in a pencil form. So we have here the Derwent Inktense and the Faber-Castell Albrecht. So these ones I like to use with a watercolor brush. And yeah, so these are really great to use. Again, I use them as either backgrounds or as a base, and then I go over it with pencils. And the difference between the Inktense and these watercolor pencils, and the reason why I brought them out, is because the Inktense, once you activate it, it's not going to move around again, so you can always layer on top of it and not have to worry about the ink bleeding into each other and muddying up or losing the color. So this is the Derwent Inktense and the Faber-Castell Albrecht, and again, they're all in pencil cases. And then another form of watercolor is the Neo colors. So these are like, looks like crayons, but they're water soluble. Again, these are great as a base or as backgrounds. They come in many colors. So this is just a small set that I brought out, which is the special edition, I think it's called Autumn. So these are the Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2, and then other forms of watercolor are the Tombow dual brush markers. So this one has a brush tip end, but it's a spongy kind, it's stiff. And then at the other end, comes with a point. A lot of people like to use this also for calligraphy. I use it for like my color by number, the Disney Hatchet Heroes coloring books. And then we also have Crayola Super Tips. This is also a water-based medium, which also, again, I use it in my Disney color by numbers. And then you can also use it as a watercolor. Just put it on a palette, pick up the color with a water brush. And then this one is a different kind of watercolor medium. This one is a Zig Clean Color Real brush. The difference between this kind of brush and the Tombow is that there are individual strands on the Zig brush. You can see it right there. This one, the Tombow doesn't. It's just one like sponge, but it's like stiff. The Zig Real color, the Clean Color Real brush have little strands of bristles, and you can use this by itself with a water brush or pick up color with another color. So yeah, so these are the watercolor mediums I like to use in my colorings. Number 6 is another medium I like to use as like either backgrounds or as a base, and they are soft pastels. So the first one I want to share is the Muñoz pastel with 64 colors. I've had this box for like years, I think 2016 or 2017, and they are all still pretty good. So plenty of colors left. It's probably going to last me several more years, but these are great to use. Of course, you know, when you're using pastels, it's always great to have workable fixative to put on top of when you're done coloring or as you are coloring your page. Another kind of pastels I like to use is this one by Jane Davenport. This is the Birthday Suit. This one I like to use when I'm coloring people and I just want a hint of blush or a hint of like a tan on top of alcohol markers. This one is great to use. I've been working on portraits, so I wanted to pick up this Pan Pastel portrait set, which I got last year, so I'm still practicing with it, but this is definitely an essential, especially for those illustrations that have just the face of the person and it's a lot of area to cover. Using alcohol markers sometimes can become very streaky, and with Pan Pastels it really helps give you an even color for skin, and so I really want to play with that. So these are my essentials for soft pastels. And along with these, you gotta have your tools. So here I have like sponges, I have these little brushes to help smooth, and these little, I don't know what you call them again, but it comes with a little sponge so you can spread out the color and smooth it out. And yeah, so making sure you have the right tools to use your mediums is another essential to have. So those are my soft pastels and other essentials. Number 7 of my coloring essentials are embellishments. So there's many things that I like to put on top of my colorings, and these are some of the stuff that I use a lot of. So I'm going to start off with the Mod Podge, which is a glitter glue. So I found out about Mod Podge through Jamie's Coloring Love. She shared a coloring of hers where she had the Mod Podge extreme glitter or mega glitter on top of acrylic, and it looks so great. I've used it a couple times on some of my colorings. Another one is the Ranger Stickles. This is the glitter gel. So this one, I use this for when I want to cover large areas of space on the paper. that I want to glitter up, and I would use a palette knife like this to spread it out. And another stickles are these that comes in these little tubes with the fine tip at the end. I like to use this for just little details around the illustration or for like strands in the hair, but not for so much space. I picked up these glitter gels to use them for the wide space, so I don't use up all of my stickles. So another kind of like glittery stuff are the glitter gel pens. So for the pens that are affordable, I like the Flare glitter gel and the Link Shine. They come in like 10 packs, different colors, and they're very, very shiny, and they dry fast for me, so I really like using these. I also have the Sakura Stardust, which are also glitter gel pens, and I like, no, that's not, this is the metallic. It comes in this one. I get it mixed up because the metallic has like glittery caps. But these are the Sakura Stardust that are the glittery gel pens, and I like using this for details in colorings, not so much for wide spaces. That's what I would use the Flare and the Link Shine for, because I can easily replace this for, and they don't cost that much. I think it was like the most recent one was like $3.99 per bag, so these are great to use. Again, these are the Sakura metallic, and then here's some other jelly rolls that instead of using white Posca, I would also use the Sakura Uniball Signa white. These are two different sizes, and then you have the Sakura white jelly roll. This is the 0.08, I believe. Yeah, so these are great to like outline like flowers or to put on the eyes, like the Posca pen. So the Posca pens, they are great for like backgrounds or adding little details. So this one is a 8K size. The thing with Posca, I didn't know that they came in different sizes. So if you're new and you've never heard of Posca pens before, they do come in different sizes. So this one is the 8K size. It has a chisel tip, and I like to use this for the background. And then there's also a 3M size, and this is the one that I started off with, the 3M size. So it's a fine but blunt tip. And then you have the 1M that looks like this. It's a plastic tip, but it's very sharp. Then you also have the 1MR, and you can't see it, but this one has a kind of like a metal tip. Let me see if I can. Metal tip, but it makes it so the Posca glides easily with the acrylic paint coming out. So out of the Uniball or the gel pen whites and the Posca whites, I like to use the Posca the most, only because I usually add the white highlights after I finish coloring, and it's hard for me to use the white jelly rolls or the white gel pens over pencils. Sometimes it just glides on top of it without leaving any of the gel, but with the Posca it's very easy for me to just lay it down. Definitely with Poscas, you have to make sure that you shake it like a lot to make sure it doesn't come out so runny. So yeah, so I think this is all of my embellishments. So it's number 7. Number 8 is having something behind your pages in your coloring books. And for me, I like to use these cutting mats, these plastic cutting mats that I got from the dollar store. It came with 2 in a pack, so I got like 3 of them, and then I would cut them up to size to fit a majority of my books. And so one of them that I have as an example, I'm using this size for this Disney Dreams collection book. I didn't want to use this smaller one because if I color on top of it, it's just going to leave a line as I color if I forget to move this over. So I just use the one size up and then use this. These are also great for when you're watercoloring. You're not going to damage the next page. Also alcohol markers, you're not going to damage the next page. You can also add even more protection by adding like scratch paper. So this is just printing paper. I would add it there, or cardstock. So I have like some cardstock that I messed up with the printing, so I would just use it as scratch paper to put behind, and you can see the markers right here. So yeah, so having something behind your page, whether it be cardstock, several pieces of printing paper, or plastic cutting mats, is an essential for coloring, so you can protect the page that is in the other side or your next illustration. So journals are a coloring essential for me. So this is my number 9 for my coloring essentials. So over here I have 2 journals. This journal, this turquoise one, is where I list all of my coloring books and the pages of those books. So I have here, you can see all listed. All the ones with the hearts are the ones that I colored in. There are some that I didn't mark yet. I have to update it. I haven't updated it lately. And in the back part of the page, you'll see where I have the title and then how many pages there are. This one I didn't, because it's Pictura. It's just one long book, so I just left it blank. But you can see I did it up to 100 for the Disney Le Grand Classiques. And yeah, so this is just something for me to keep track of and feel like it's not so chaotic. And yeah, I like to keep these in track in my journals. And then on this one, it's like a coloring diary. And so here I have, well, I'll show, like, this is what one of my whips. It's from Enchanted Faces. It's number 78 in my journal right over here, and I showed a page, so when I mark it I can just highlight it really quick. And then here I used markers as a base, and then I'm still working on it, so when I'm finished working on a section of the page, I would put down the pencils that I am working on. So for, let's say, Disney Dreams, I didn't write down what the number is. I'll go ahead and do that now. So here's the Disney Dreams. It is number 146. So I'll just write it down here, number 146. So you can see that I already put the page there. So when I am done with that page, I'll just have to go to 146. Right over here, and then just highlight page 16. So yeah, so I've just been keeping up with that for several years. I actually have a spreadsheet started. My sister started it for me this past year, but she didn't finish it. She actually went back to work now. She's in the entertainment business, so when she was not working because of COVID, she wanted something to do, so I asked her to make a spreadsheet for me of my coloring books because I want to be able to label it like whichever books have the Christmas or, you know, the seasonal themes and stuff. So I want to add that to the spreadsheet, but that's like ongoing work in progress project kind of thing. So yeah, so journals are part of my coloring essentials. Number 10 of my coloring essentials, and if you haven't guessed yet, it is my swatches. And I need my swatches I can't color without them because I like to make sure that I can see all of the colors, and sometimes I don't just use one pencil. I like to mix it up, or even markers. Sometimes I'm not using just one marker, I'm using different kinds of markers from different sets. So it helps that you have a swatch of each of your mediums, so you can easily pick your colors, pick your mediums, and see immediately how it's going to look, and you can immediately imagine how it's going to look on your page, on your coloring page. So I have two different kinds of swatching books. I have one that's on an Amazon printed book. This is the Color Charts Color Collection Edition. This is by Yasmin Eldahan. I've had this book forever. So again, this is an Amazon printed book, and I picked this because I use my markers mainly for Amazon printed books, and I want to see how the markers are going to use on that kind of paper. So that's why I have my markers on here swatched, and I also have it swatched on cardstock, but I mainly always look in this book. Another thing that's great about swatching your markers on this kind of paper is you can see if you have yellowing and see which markers they are. So this one is from the Arteza Everblend, so I can immediately see which colors to not use in my pages, so they're not yellowing into each other and bleeding into the next page. So yeah, so in here I also have my gel pens. I think I have more gel pens and more markers. So, and I also have my water-based markers like Crayola Super Tips, Tombow, the Rianacine, I forgot what it's called, Riancy dual tip markers. So this one is a great book for me to have, and I definitely always use it. And then this notebook over here is where I keep all of my pencils, and I have them in order of the size of the set, so the bigger size to the smallest size. So there's more pencils, and then I will have my watercolors. So here's the watercolor Gansai Tambi, Sakura Koi, Rubens, the watercolor pencils, different ink tints, and then Neocolors, Tombows. Yeah, my Crayola. I did Crayola because you can use it as a watercolor, and I have it as the pen by itself and as a watercolor. So you have Distressed Ink. I have the Pan Pastel, the Stabilo Carbothellos, Posca, and glitter gel pens. Then I also have my markers. These are the ones that are all empties, so I want to make sure that I use all the rest of it. And yeah, so those are my swatches. And the reason why I like to keep them like this in sleeves instead of putting them all in one book is because I like to take them out. For instance, in my Disney Dreams collection, I have the Prismacolor swatch always with this book because it is the pencils that I'm using to color this page in. So I always have it in here. I can find it right away and just keep it like that. It also tells me that I still have a whip in this book that I need to finish. So that makes it easier for me to look at, so I don't always have this open, or even just having a book open. And I can just put this away and it is done. So those are my 10 coloring essentials. I hope you guys had fun seeing and hearing why I picked those 10, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I am not sure who has been tagged. I think Monet the Coloring Diva did open it for anyone to do, so if you haven't done this tag and are interested in doing it, please do. Just make sure to tag the Coloring Diva so that she can see your video. There are a couple of channels that I hope that would do this tag also. I would like to ask May Brox, CB's Coloring and Crafts, Shalene the Coloring Book Nook, and and Hatfield, your coloring beauty rep. If they can do it, if you guys can do it, I hope you can. But if you don't want to do it, it's okay. It's no problem. I just would love to see what your coloring essentials would be. So that is it. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all at my next video. So please take care, keep safe and healthy, and happy colorings. Bye bye.